So the idea is that your employees will submit this leave request form, and then we assign a task to someone to approve or reject this request. And based on the decision, we notify the requester. I have gone ahead and created the form. You've got a few fields here: leave type, start date, end date, and note. I leave a note in the comment to this form so you can get a copy of the form as well. It is important when you're creating the form, just make sure you have ticked collect emails so we know who is submitting the form. Okay, now let's go to zenphi. To create a flow, we click on create flow. Here we need to select our trigger. Trigger is what starts the flow. So in our case, we want our flow to start when the form is submitted. So click on this. It brings me to the flow canvas. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give it a name. I'm gonna configure the trigger by clicking on this icon. Here I need to create a connection or select an existing one. I don't have an existing connection, so I need to create one. Connection is what authorizes zenphi to interact with the system on your behalf. And the connection is created. Now I need to go and select the form we have created. The form is on my drive here. Select the form, and once I select the form, all the fields that I've added to the form will appear here, as you can see. Okay, we have configured our trigger. Now let's add our first action, which is assign task. I can drag and drop actions from the left hand toolbar to here. In this case, I'm dragging and dropping an assign task. Actions are the building block of your process, and each action needs to be configured separately. So I click on the cogs icon to configure the action. For testing purpose, I'm going to assign the task to one of our test email accounts. You can assign them to one or many people. I also configure the email subject. Now let's start configuring the task email body. Wherever you see this icon, it means that we can access the token picker and assign the dynamic values to the field. From the token picker, we have got access to the trigger values, action values, variables, and vaults. In our case, I'm going to select the initiator email from the trigger. That means the person who submitted the form. Again, for leave type, I'm going to select the value that user has selected on the form, leave type. I do the same for the rest of the values coming from the trigger. I include them all in the task email body. Okay, we are done with the assign task configuration. Now, most of the tasks have got outputs. That means once they get executed, their value is available to subsequent actions. You can see the outputs from here. In our case, in assign task, these are the values available. So what we want to do, we want to check the outcome of the task. When the task gets assigned, what is the outcome? So I drag and drop an if condition, and I go here to rename it to approved. Click here to open up the condition builder. And here from the token PK dialog, now the task assign task action is also available. I select the outcome equals to approve. So if the outcome equals to approve, the flow execution follows to the true branch. If it otherwise, it follows to the false branch. And what we want to do, we want to just notify the user if it's approved. Then it's approved. So we go to the Gmail and we've got a send email action here. Bring here, let's configure it. Again, I don't have a connection for Gmail. I click on the plus button to create one. The connection is created. Now it's asking me who do you want to send the email to, and I want to send it to the person who submitted the form. That means the initiator email. Okay, now let's configure the email subject and the email body. And I rename this. Okay, I'm gonna do the same for when the task is rejected. Drag and drop it, send email action here. Let's configure this one. This time I don't need to create, I don't have to create an action because you already created, I can reuse it. And I'm gonna send it to the initiator. Also, let's configure the email subject and the email body. And rename it to send rejection email. Once I've done that, it's time to save and publish the flow. The flow is published, as you can see. Version 1 is showing up here. Now I can go and submit a form to test it. Submit. As soon as I submit this, a new instance of this flow should start executing. To see that, I go to the recent runs, and here you can see an instance of the flow is executing. If I open up the instance, I can see where it's up to. It's up to assigning a task. I've got the another user here. We assign the task to this user. That's why she's received the task email. As you can see, the task shows up here. This is how we constructed the body of the email. And I'm gonna say approve. I go back to here. If I refresh this, I can see where it's up to. I can see it has sent the approval email, and if I refresh it, it should be completed. Task is completed. The approval email has been sent. So if I go to this user's inbox, refresh, I should see the approval email. Hi, your sick leave request has been approved. So yeah, congratulations. If you've been following along, you've managed to create your very first flow in zenphi. This was a very simple flow. However, you can add a lot more complex step and logics to your flow. Check out our YouTube video, our documentation website to learn more about zenphi, and please reach out to us if you've got any suggestions.